Hi, so 4th of February 26, and today I want to go over the original definitions of the word economy and economics. And I know some of you are already familiar with the original definition, but many people are not. So I think it is a really worthwhile exercise because you should be blown away and you can see for yourself how, again, we have a science which has been quite intentionally twisted for the control of the population. Right, and I'm going to start with this lovely dictionary, which is a 1755 Samuel Johnson. Not the original, unfortunately, but very good because I'm using it a lot. Otherwise, the original 250-year-old book would probably get damaged with so much use. But here we go. We'll start with that, and as I do with all my original meaning posts, at the end I will have the photos of each of the pages where I've read from, so you can just read the definitions for yourself at your leisure and actually examine the information. And it's in the same order as I'm giving it here. Okay, excuse me. All right, so let's go. Economy, from the Greek ekonomia, which means household management. As simple as that. And that is the derivation of economy, household management, government of a household. Of a house. So here we go. Definition 1, which is the original meaning. The management of a family, government of a household. Definition 2, frugality, discretion of expense, laudable parsimony. Definition 3, disposition of things, regulation. So here we're looking at just how things are arranged, and we'll see that in the other definitions. It's really, really good. It's really interesting. Number 4, the disposition or arrangement of any work. Number 5, system of motions, distribution of everything, active or passive, to its proper place. So that's your definitions of economy in this book. And there is not any entry for economics. So at this point in time, we just have economy. Okay, good. Now we go on to the Webster's 1851 dictionary. So we are jumping about 100 years, and we're going on to the American dictionary. I'm just being very careful with that one because yeah, we don't want to damage that. I mean, they're not bad. You know, this is like 1851. This is 175 years. So I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to damage them. Right. Interestingly enough, economy, beautiful definitions. So I'm going to go straight into them. 1, primarily the management, regulation, and government of a family, or the concerns of a household. Again, that is the primary definition. 2, the management of pecuniary concerns, or the expenditure of money. So pecuniary here obviously has to do with money. 3, a frugal and judicious use of money. That management which expands money to advantage and incurs no waste. Frugality in the necessary expenditure of money. It differs from parsimony, which implies an improper saving of expense. Economy includes also prudent management of all the means by which property is saved or accumulated, a judicious application of time, of labour, and of the instruments of labour. It's quite an extensive definition, isn't it? But you see that key word, judicious, proper management. That we're talking, yeah. Well, you know, when you have a state or a country that owes trillions to a World Bank, and that's in deficit, that borrows, all that sort of things, we could not call that good management of money, good judicious management of money, could we? All right, definition 4, the disposition or arrangement of any work. So as in the other dictionary, a system of rules, regulations, rites, and ceremonies. The regular operations of nature in the generation, nutrition, and preservation of animals or plants, as animal economy, vegetable economy. Such a good definition. Number 7, distribution or due order of things. You see, again, now we're going to, think of that one, distribution or due order of things. And you'll see later how economics, as it is now, it's a complete kind of mix up and confusion of what some of these definitions originally meant. Then we have 8, judicious and frugal management of public affairs as political economy. Now, political economy is not in that dictionary because here it's literally just two words, political economy, right? Frugal management of affairs for a government or a state. However, in later dictionaries, which we'll see shortly, the definition of political economy then appears. Okay, then it says 9, system of management, general regulation and disposition of the affairs of a state or nation, or of any department of government. So it implies a good system of management. So this is 1851, and economics shows up. And here we have economics, the science of household affairs. A science, huh? They call it a science then. So let's put that one away very carefully. Right, let's jump back now to 1895, or jump up to 1895, and this is a Lloyd's Encyclopedic Dictionary. This is an English dictionary, so we're back to that side of the pond. And here, the economy, the definitions of economy are the same, so I'm not going to read them again. But economics, now we have another definition that appears by 1895. The science of the management of a household or domestic concern, so that's still there. Then we have 2, that branch of political economy which treats of exchangeable things and of the laws which regulate their exchange. Now keep in mind this concept of exchange. And the reason for that is a great example is the British Railway, right? Now anybody who's in England who's watching this, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. I take the train weekly. And our railways have gone nuts in that they have become the most expensive railway in the world. And they are some of the most inefficient railways, to the point, and most expensive, to the point that where I live, it takes me 1 hour and 45 minutes on the train to go from where I live to London. However, if I want to go before 9:30, the ticket is £250, which is about $300. If I go after 9:30 for a return ticket, I will have to pay over £100. And I'll be lucky if I get a seat. I'll be lucky if the train turns up. This is a daily issue for all train users in the UK. But what's interesting about it, the reason I'm bringing that up, is you have all these companies charging huge sums of money and delivering a catastrophic service. There is no exchange. And real trade, real sensible, balanced production and economy would involve a good exchange. So we have the same. You have those nations which borrow huge sums of money from banks. Don't know what to do with their money. But basically the exchange is not there. So that's why I'm pointing out the exchange is a really interesting concept, because there's 2 dictionaries. In 1851 is discussing that. And here we have, not 1851, 1895. And this is coming up, and it's going to come up again. So it's very interesting. Right. Now we're going to jump to 1956 with this one. So this is an English dictionary. So now we've moved on about 50 odd years, well, 60 years. And I'm going to read the definition of political economy here. So it's very clear that somewhere in that 50, 60, 70 years, since that Webster's 1851 dictionary, in that space of time, there must have been, university people, or how could I put it, academics, or people that must have come out with all sorts of essays on the subject of economics. And because there's so much on that topic, isn't it? And so much of it is false. Because if it were true, if the principles of current economics were true, all nations of earth would be very prosperous, and they're not. Consequently, whatever the laws of economics, quote unquote, that you learn at university, there's obviously something very, very wrong in that, because it's evidently not working. Real exchange, real production, for an exchange, it sounds a lot better. But anyway, that's my opinion. Okay, political economy. The science concerned with the production, distribution, and consumption of wealth, and with the theory of exchange. So the theory of exchange is still there, right? It says economics. But now we have this production, distribution, and consumption of wealth. That didn't appear. So this is quite interesting. Now this concept of wealth and how you distribute wealth appears. And that was never the case. That was primarily the science of household management. So this is interesting. Now we look at the definition of economics. Economy is pretty much the same definitions as the previous dictionary. So here it hasn't changed, interestingly enough. So under economy, you still have, the judicious management of wealth in any form, the principle of the management of a household. These definitions are still there. So originally, we just the judicious management of money, and now it's become a little bit different. Wealth, because wealth is not just money. Anyway, but here's the definition of economics: the science and study of the general principles which govern the production and distribution of wealth. Also, political economy, and that's it. That's the only definition. So the science of household management has gone, right? So now we just have the definition to do with the distribution, production and distribution of wealth. Interesting, isn't it? And now if we jump to the Oxford Dictionary, the current one, I had a bit of a shock actually, because here you go. This is the Oxford Dictionary, 2005 edition. And most of the definitions I've read you in the earlier dictionaries have gone. And economy, first definition, whereas the first definition before, by the way, usually in dictionaries, the first definition is usually the main one. But anyway, so the previous dictionaries we've looked at, the science of household management, the management of a household, the government of a household. Now, definition 1 in this dictionary: the state of a country or region in terms of the production and consumption of goods and services and the supply of money. Then a particular system or stage of an economy. 2, careful management of available resources. And then offering good value for money, which is, it's totally, economy, like a pack of soap flakes, an economy pack of soap flakes. Sparing or careful use of something. Financial savings. Economy class, the cheapest class of air or rail travel. There is nothing on household management. Isn't that extraordinary? All gone, completely gone. Although the derivation still remains as, from Greek, oikonomia, household management, based on oikos, house, and nemein, to manage. Isn't that extraordinary? All gone. So this is what's happening with economy. And next post, I'm going to show you something quite amazing, because a couple of weeks ago, I walked in a charity shop and I saw something which I grabbed. I could not believe it was there on the shelf. And it needs its own full post because it's amazing. Talking about economics and household management, this is a 1906 Mrs. Beeton's book of household management. It's over 2,000 pages. Now, for those who know Mrs. Beeton, she was like the celebrity of the days when it came to complete science of household management. She was the woman when it came to the true meaning of economics. And this version here is the second edition, 1906, which follows the 1861 edition. And you will be amazed at what's in there. In fact, I've just been sent back to beginner's class for my vocabulary. I thought I had quite a good English vocabulary, since I'm in those books like every day. And I can't believe the amount of words I don't know. And it's an eye-opener. It's truly an eye-opener at the vocabulary, the level of language. This is a household management book. This was not for men. This is for the housekeepers, the woman of the house running the show. And the language is something else. I'm like, wow, I'm quite humbled. As I said, back to the beginnings of the class. But you'll be amazed at what's in there. Like, my jaw's been like dropping at every page I've been turning. So it needs its own post, and that's going to be the next post.